Hi everyone. So many of my singers, especially the loud ones, are always asking, where can I practice? Because my parents are home and I'm not feeling comfortable doing that when everybody's listening. Well, I've got some tips for you, but I think the main thing is fuck this. I mean, you're metalheads, come on. Just scream and you look stupid anyway. You'll sound stupid anyway, at least until you get it. So just do it. But still, I have some tips for you on places where you can practice comfortably, I hope, and maybe you'll find it's useful. And if you have more ideas for this, please comment me below and share your own ideas. Maybe you've got something that works for you and we don't know about, so please do share. So many of you probably thought about this, but you can always practice in your car, and I think that's the best place to practice in, because no one can hear you scream, and even if they do, you won't meet them again, and once the green light comes on, you'll just be on your way to somewhere else. So fuck whoever hears you screaming or sees you screaming in your car. I mean, who cares? But then many people tell me I can't practice in my car because I can't stand up and it's not so effective for me. So maybe you can consider on pushing the roof when you're, for example, if you're stopping and you have some time to kill, and you can push the roof while you're singing. Therefore, you can activate your back muscles. Then that's a really good thing that works for me every time. This might be new for some of you, but we don't have to be standing up all the time when we're singing. We can sit down, we can dance, we can do whatever. So don't be afraid to practice in your car. It's a really great place to practice in. Number 2, your basement. Maybe it's not your basement if you don't live in a place that has one, but maybe if you live in an apartment, then some buildings have it, and sometimes no one uses it, and it's soundproof usually. I've heard about some people doing that and that it works well for them and no one complaining, so hey, that's always something you can do. Number 3, park or somewhere outdoors. Some people just don't think about it, but and it's probably weird to go to the park and just scream by yourself or sing by yourself. But if you take a friend with you, so you can have this little exercises going on between two of you, and even if people pass by, they're like, oh yeah, they're practicing, they're singing together, that's so cute. So that's something you can totally do. And I've heard about people that are doing this and having really a nice practice time with this one. If you live in a deserted area where we don't have many neighbors around, so yeah, go outdoors and scream your lungs out. That would probably work as well. Number 4, you can always hire a rehearsal room or studio, and many people don't know that you can actually do that even if you're not a band. And I know I always see, when I teach in a rehearsal studio, and I always see people coming in and out to practice. Some of them are vocalists, some of them are drummers, maybe even guitarists and keyboard players that just need some time alone to practice. That's a really nice place to practice in, and obviously you have everything you need. You've got a microphone, you've got some rehearsal spaces have a computer, so you can just put your playback or connect your phone or whatever to have your playback over. And I personally do it all the time before I have a show. I can practice at home because nobody cares and my neighbors can't hear me. But still, before shows, I usually hire a rehearsal room for like 1 or 2 hours per week, and just to practice the set without me caring about being too loud or and I need the microphone also, and to practice like how I sound on the monitors, and I can move more freely because here in my home I don't have so much space. So that's a really huge advantage that you have in a rehearsal room, that usually you have more space, so you can also practice your showmanship. So I guess this wasn't so new to most of you, but it happens a lot when singers ask me that, and I answer with all these options, and I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that, or I didn't know that I can hire a rehearsal space by myself if they're not in band, so they're not used to the concept. So this is something, all of these are ideas you can use and be creative with it, of course. And I think if you're taking a partner with you, if it's like if you're hiring a space, then it would be cheaper. It's not so very expensive, so check this option. But if you take a partner with you, you can also be more creative, and you get more motivated because you have someone to push you even in the days that you don't feel like practicing. And and then you can do all sorts of things that maybe you're too shy to do alone. You know, if I'm just practicing in my home, but I don't want to people hear me doing all these weird exercises. So if I have a partner with me, or another singer, or another musician, then suddenly it becomes okay because we're rehearsing and we're not just doing weird crap by ourselves, you know. But this aside, what I wanted to say about practicing is that many people think that they should really be available for like 1 hour and do their practice. And actually, I personally think, and I do it myself all the time also, that it's really effective to practice for shorter amounts of time just throughout the day. So when, for example, I was practicing the Ginger cover that I uploaded a year and a half ago, I think, I just so I practiced it like my low grunts. So I just every time I had some time available, if I was making coffee, I would just go hey. If I just you know, got off the phone with someone, I went hey, until it got better and better, and until I learned the song also. And that was really effective, just to practice it in short bits throughout the day. And it was much more effective than doing like 1 hour of practice, especially if you're crazy like me and you practice all the weird stuff and all the harsh stuff, so you sometimes don't do it like 100% right, and you get a little bit sore in the throat. So it's hard to do it like for an hour straight or more than that, and it will add up to an hour or more, you know. And the great advantage about this is that it really gets into your muscle memory, and this is what it's all about, you know. It's like being an athlete, just making your body learn something, learning to do something and do it like this every time you want it, so you have it like immediately. So if I just wake you in the middle of the night and I tell you like, okay, grunt for me, you should go like hey, you know. So it should be like immediate. And the secret to all this is really getting it into your muscle memory, and we do that by doing as many rehearsals we can have, as many repetitions as we can have, to create and memorize this sound. And of course, this is not a tutorial about how to produce it healthily or things like that. So it doesn't matter if you practice like clean or harsh vocals. It's like with every new sound that we're trying to implement with our bodies, just be aware of how much that the body needs many repetitions to do it in a correct way. So just it's all about muscle memory. And this works really well if you just do it for shorter bits throughout the day. It will be more effective, and you'll find it easier to find the time to do it. Because if I tell you, hey, you have to practice like every day for an hour, you'll go like, oh, I don't have this time. But if I tell you, yeah, every time you do the dishes, just do this sound you're practicing on. You're waiting for the bus and no one's around, do this sound. You're in the bus and no one can hear you because some sounds aren't really, that don't need really so much volume to do to be produced healthily. So do the sound, whatever works for you. I mean, this is the most important thing to say, whatever works for you. And here's another important thing to say about practice, and I say it all the time in the studio: volume doesn't equal energy. Because sometimes we hear something, some sound or a scream or something that sounds really harsh and really beastie, and we're thinking that they're really screaming their lungs out. But most of the times we will hear their energy. It doesn't have to be in a very loud volume. And if you understand this, then you know that even if I'm practicing something that should be fairly loud, I don't have to be like extra loud. I can practice like hey, I don't have to go like hey. I don't have to do it all the way to make to work on this specific sound. And especially with vocal effects, most of them don't need so much volume to be produced on the opposite. So I can practice it even if people are home, and it usually doesn't bother them if I go like, hey! I'd say I'm like on volume 4 or 5 now. I'm not like pushing anything volume wise. My neighbors can't hear this, that's for sure. So every time you practice something, if it's a sound, if it's clean vocals or vocal effects, just wait a second and think like, okay, what volume do I need to be in? And sometimes we need loud volumes, especially if we're high in pitch and we're working on like the full chest voice, the full solidness of the sound. So we have to be very loud. But in many cases, we can practice lots of sound without being so loud. So it's all about the energy. And I can also practice my what we call neutral, what you might call head voice. You know, so I don't need to be like so very loud to do this. Or if I'm practicing my fry scream, especially with fry scream, and I think I'll have another tutorial just on this because I think it's extremely important and so many people want to know how to do this. It's not, you can't do it in a loud volume. I'm like again on volume 4 or 5 tops, so I'm not bothering anyone. If I go like this, I can scream like for an hour and no one will say probably that they're bothered with it. So yeah, if I go like, so yeah, I'm just not very loud. You hear the energy, not the volume. So don't confuse these two. And as your homework, I urge you to go and listen to singers that you like and see how loud they actually are. Are they really so loud? Or maybe you just hear their energy and their enthusiasm and their like emotional state that they're in, and the mental state. Maybe this is what we hear and not so much volume. But again, for some sounds we do need loud volumes, but not for all. And if I'm thinking about everything we can do with our voices, there's like a small amount of things that need to be very loud. So there's so much I can practice on medium volumes and low volumes, and I don't need to be really thinking about who's hearing that, because I'll just close my door and maybe put some music on so people outside won't hear me. So this is it for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please tell me in the comments what you thought about this, and if you have other either practice methods that you like to follow, or if you have maybe places that you like to go and practice in, then I would be happy to hear them and maybe discuss them further along. Also, if you want me to talk about something that I haven't, or if you have questions for me, post in the comments. You can also just write how awesome I am and how much you're enjoying my videos and my shit, because you know this is always nice to hear. Have a nice practice, go sing now, and have a nice day.